New Age Parenting, presented by Manav Rachna.
Hello and a very warm welcome to New Age Parenting, and once again we are at the end of the session. Yes, March is always very interesting because there is something which is finishing and there is something which is going to start in the next month. But yes, this is also the time to actually evaluate, maybe re-evaluate, understand what was the last year and how the new year, the new session is going to be. So today we are going to talk about innovations in education. We all are understanding there are changes, pattern is changing, education system is changing, a lot of other boards are also coming in, and we really need to understand what as parents we need to do. So in today's episode we would be focusing on innovations and how to accept them as parents. So time now for soul searching.
Education in India has been under scanner for long. Finally, CBSE has introduced innovations in the form of continuous and comprehensive evaluation known as CCE. In this new system, students' marks are replaced by grades, which are evaluated through a series of curricular and extracurricular evaluations along with the academics. The aim is to reduce the workload on students and to improve the overall skill and ability of the student by means of evaluation of other activities. Grades are awarded to students based on their work, experience, skills, dexterity, innovation, steadiness, teamwork, public speaking, and behavior. This helps students who are not good in academics to show their talent in the fields such as arts, humanities, sports, music, and athletics. Every change brings in apprehensions and other implications. Let's explore.
In our soul searching segment, as promised, we have two special guests. We have Ms. Sangeeta Jamwal and we have Ms. Guneet Ohri, who is the principal of Ridge Valley School, Gurgaon. A very warm welcome to both of you.
Thank you so much.
In fact, we have been talking about, Guneet ji, about innovations in education system. We start with you, Sangeeta. You have two kids, right? One is in 11th and the second one is 5th. Do you find there's any change in the education pattern now when your child is getting towards 6th?
Yeah, there's a lot of stress level which has reduced now.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah, like my son now, he can pursue hobbies like, he loves to go for skating and then football and all that. So my daughter couldn't do that much because there was so much of competition because of that percentage system. So now they have this grading system. So he studies very hard, but he knows if he doesn't get an A+, he'll get A definitely. So that makes a lot of difference. Then even between parents, there's less of competition. Earlier when my daughter was in 6th, I used to receive calls from my friends like, how many marks your daughter got in history or maybe science subjects and all that. So now there are no such calls which I'm receiving anymore.
That's wonderful. In fact, and I really like, that parents are not bothered much whether it's A+ or A.
Yeah.
It's really okay. But Guneet ji, what do you feel? Has it really changed?
Yes, definitely. The horizons have broadened. The children have got so much more to do apart from just going into that rote learning and just filling out on the paper a question paper and an answer scheme, etc. She's absolutely right when she says she doesn't get calls, because now the parents are looking at the overall. The intention of starting with this continuous and comprehensive evaluation, which has begun now in a big way, and the grading system coming in, I personally feel that the development of the children has become more holistic, and they can look outside of academics, because we have to understand children have multiple intelligences. They cannot be bracketed into academics alone. Those days are gone, and when the parents used to only look for an engineer or a doctor as a profession for the children, there's so much more happening. We're sitting out here, there is you who's totally branched out, and I'm sure you will realize that this place is as much lucrative and fulfilling as probably the other vocations would be. So I don't see any reason for any one of us not to applaud the change that has come, because change is the way of life.
What are exactly these changes, and from which age we can start them seeing?
From the very beginning, actually, yeah. Yes, change. See, if you look at the pre-primary area, or we look at the primary, or whichever level we look at, if we are going to bring about a change in the thought process, it has to start from the beginning, where the child is exposed to a host of options in terms of learning. Just as a small example, if you have to teach a child about a lesson, an alphabet, let's say P. Now, how would you indicate to a child that this is a letter P? In those days gone by, the teacher would hold the hand and make the child write. Now, there are innovative ways. The teachers would have a pajama party in school. The parents are asked to send in the pajamas. There are popcorns, there are pakoras, and the children sort of, learn the alphabet in a matter of enjoyment.
We're finally moving from being illiterate to an educated being, because this is what was a blame which was put on Indians.
See, Swami Vivekananda, long time managed to get the gist of it when he said education is maximization of perfection in a human body. So we are looking at the in toto sort of a concept for a child. Why should we only hone the academic, probably the written or the rote skills? There are other ways, and there are very many options for the children now.
If we look at from the parents' side, of course, pressure is not there, academic pressure. But do you really feel the other pressures are not there? Because we on this platform have seen that there are hordes of pressures both on the children and on parents.
A common one which I feel is, because they're more exposed to internet and iPads and all that, so the interest level for studies has gone down.
The only pressures I feel are tremendous are the peer pressures, when the peer pressure becomes such that your self-esteem gets affected.
But peer is what the society is.
Yes, but at the same, that's where we need to empower the children. Each one has to be made to feel that yes, they have something special in them, because each child is special.
Do you think parents are empowered enough? Because unless or until I am empowered.
Some parents, yes, but a lot needs to be done on this front. Now, innovation in education is taken as something that is a very confused jargon that we are now sort of handed over by the education department. It's not. If you just have to analyze it the right way, and you have to sit down and thrash it out.
But how much it is being implemented in the right way? Are we ready for that implementation?
No, I feel a lot still needs to be done. See, there are some schools that are very progressive. The student-teacher ratio is small, like in ours. We can do a better job over there. Not to say that things of a balanced nature are not happening in other schools, but there are chances of things going a little out of control when the numbers become too large. It is sometimes very difficult to rope in those kind of strategies and sort of implement them. But yes, teachers are being trained. The CBSE is training. They have master trainers who go across and train the other schools and teachers from other schools, and the movement is happening. See, any change will take a while, and there is going to be a testing time. I think we should give it to them. The experimentation has to happen with real life situations. If we don't allow that to happen, how will we ever get? Of
course, when experiment becomes an experience, it becomes a reality.
Yes.
Sangeeta, if we talk about the pressure from the school, or your expectation as a parent from the school,
teachers, they're more like friends to them. They can easily interact with them. So earlier, we used to be scared of our teachers. We used to think 10 times before going and, telling them our problems. So there, even like from principal to vice principal to the teachers, everybody is very friendly. So they are not hesitant to go and tell their problems. They don't even have to ask us. Straight away they go there and their problem is sorted out. So as such, I'm having no problem where my son is concerned or my daughter.
So we have a very satisfied parent. But you must be facing a lot of those expectation charts.
Now sometimes the expectations are a little irrational. I would like to say that. But if I really go into the depth of it, I do understand their mothers at the end of the day. They want the best for the children, but after some amount of talking across the table, nothing goes, everything can be solved if you sit across the table and talk, and we've been able to sort of satisfy the parents. Yes, they have expectations, and why not? If the schools are talking about providing some things for the children, and if they feel that there is a lack or a disconnect, and as she's rightly said, the formality angle, the colonial impact is now slowly disintegrating. In fact, as far as we are concerned, it's totally not there. There is a total one-to-one, and we are regular on emails, and the media, the technology has really done us wonders, because the parent doesn't even have to come and touch base with us. There are these various technological gizmos that help us do.
So doors are opening finally
Absolutely.
from schools, and not only for the students but also for the parents. We as parents, I think, somewhere need to open our doors. What are expectations of schools from parents? We'll be talking about it in the next segment. So time now for a short break.
New Age Parenting, presented by Manav Rachna. New Age Parenting, presented by Manav Rachna.
Welcome back to Soul Searching. We are really having a wonderful conversation. We have Guneet and we have Sangeeta. Guneet ji, we were talking about expectations by the parents, Let's talk about what are expectations of the school from the parents.
I think there has to be a very strong partnership among parents and the school per se, because at the end of the day, what is happening at home, they are with us for 5 to 6 hours. At the end of the day, they are spending more time at home. So the kind of environment that is provided to them at home and the kind of life they're leading in school, if they kind of are sort of coming together, then there is no disconnect.
Of course, things have changed. Education system has become, little less stressful. But the stress on children is increasing. Conflicts between parents and children, conflicts between teachers and children are there. In fact, they are increasing. Are we as parents little rigid? We are not wanting to change and see that the change is happening.
No, see, I feel you should give children space. All right, that's the first thing, and be their friend. Then you will have no problem, absolutely. I'm not facing one.
And there is a flip side to being a friend. That fine line, if you cross, then at some point of time, it's very true when we say that a true parent is one who loves the child when the child is to be loved. Gets angry with the child when she's supposed to or he's supposed to get angry, accolades or reprimands the child, because that is the role. As a parent, you don't have to just become a friend, because if you're becoming too friendly with them, they will step over that boundary. At the end of the day, they're children. They do not know that this is the line that we don't have to cross.
Yeah, not only for parents, maybe for themselves.
Yes.
Because as individuals, they don't understand where to actually create those boundaries.
Absolutely.
In the outside world also. So why the conflicts? Maybe not with you, you're not facing, but your friends must be facing. What are those conflicts, if we ask?
Like, I think to a certain extent, parents are not giving that much time to children. Then the conflicts are occurring. I feel they are, to a certain extent, they are responsible. The school is doing their part. But then when they come home, how much time the parents are giving to children, which is like nowadays very less.
And I think we are also getting tired of that quality time term, because I think we don't know what is meant by quality time. Can somebody specify it to me? What do you feel by quality time?
Quality time, like my child, when my child comes home, like when my child wants to be with me, I should leave everything and be with my child. That is important. I shouldn't be saying, okay, I have to listen to this phone call, or I have to make this vegetable first, or I have to attend to somebody first and then I'll come to you. I feel that your child should be your first preference, because that is the time when your child wants you and wants that you should listen to him or her.
That's more important, I think, listening part. We do more of talking rather than listening, So
we sermonize more.
Yeah.
See, what she says actually is very, very true.
Yes.
I totally connect with her, because when parents, even I am a working mother, and when I go back home, I am carrying that stress of my work. I wouldn't call it stress, my preoccupation with the work. And subsequently, when I reach there and I have so many things ticked in my mind that my son should do this, he should have finished that, he should have done this. So the minute I reach, instead of talking to him, I start telling her, did you do this, did you do that? So that kind of creates that stress and that conflict, where I've heard, of course, fortunately, things are now sort of settling down, but most cases you will see children just sort of disassociating themselves, going into with their headphones, or banging doors on the the face of the parent. Those are the problems that are emerging now, and that is because of this lack of this quality time. And I, to be very honest, still fumble with the word quality time, as you rightly said, just by, you can't be at the beck and call of the child, I personally feel, because they also have to realize that there are priorities as well. We can't give out one single answer and say that yes, this is the kind of quality time you need to. Yes, you need to listen to them. You need to listen to them. You need to not only listen to what they are saying, you need to listen to, or rather get the signals from them. Because most children
behind the scenes, you should be able to go behind the scenes.
You should be. Why? Because when so many children will not let you know what's going on in their mind, Your child may come home stressed, but she may not convey to you. It is for you to see that alert sign that is coming. So that kind of communication with the child, I feel, is important. And somewhere along the line, I would totally agree that it is not all a rosy picture, as you rightly said. This innovation has all of us reeling in the, in the realm of it all, because we are still trying to figure out which is the correct thing to do. Sometimes we say marks should be an option. At the end of the day, see, marks are only getting converted into grades. So only its reflection is not there. So it will take a little while, but we are going the right way. That I'm certain about.
Innovations and experimentations will keep on happening.
Absolutely.
Till the time it becomes an experience, and of course then it becomes
over a period of time, only the dust will settle down. Right now there is a
But then the
foggy
good news is that the change has arrived. Guneet, Ohri ji and Sangeeta, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
It's amazing, we've been talking about the change, and change has arrived. But with change comes a lot of awareness and alertness. Change does not mean that, of course, change is for good, that is what we've been hearing. But change will only become a reality once we are alert and we are experimenting with it. So time to really understand that what a change signifies spiritually. Time to move over to spiritual significance.
The change process should be allowed to take as long as necessary to complete. Change processes are usually driven, at least to some degree, by external realities. The time frame for a change initiative must allow for all the preparatory and ongoing maintenance activities that take place, such as consensus building, communication, and training. There are 3 elements that must be considered in developing a successful change strategy: people, process, and structure. Skills and attitudes of the people involved are of great importance and therefore should be given due importance. The process should take into account the stakeholders, time frame, context, and outcome. The change makers, the people experiencing the change, should be flexible enough to be reconfigured and reshaped as needed with changing circumstances. Once the change has been implemented and yields desired results, it becomes a reality and is thus accepted.
Spirituality is able to give us another insight. We've been talking about it, and thank you so much, because a lot of audience out there have responded that spirituality actually is able to give them another aspect. We always try to find out that where are we wrong, because till now the focus was on others and the situations. But the moment we start looking at ourselves, we are able to find out that yes, this is where the fault lies, and maybe with one thought process change, or maybe with one belief system change, we can actually create a new pattern, a new way of life. So time now to move over to mapping the conflict.
Old belief: purpose of education is to get into a successful, secure career.
New belief: education is needed for the all-round development of the child.
Solution: a balance is needed. Career will have to be the focus along with overall development.
Old belief: tried and tested methods which give results should not be changed. Experimentation in education can be harmful for children.
New belief: innovations are always for good and must be given a chance.
Solution: innovations have to be implemented considering people, situations and surroundings. Ample time must be given to make it a reality.
Old belief: you can never undo a change, and once it has been implemented, one has to live with it.
New belief: even if in the beginning innovations fail, eventually it will be a success.
Solution: there is no harm in rolling back the change if after considering all situations, the change fails to deliver.
We understand that innovations and change are part of life. At one point in our life, we had become stagnant and we were actually stuck in that circle. But now when education system is looking towards innovations, there will be many trials and many decisions have to be changed. But then innovation finally becomes settled and we will be able to find our own answers. But till then, we should continue to experiment, and once it becomes a part of my experience, it will be a reality which I will cherish. So till the time we meet again, enjoy parenting.
New Age Parenting, presented by Managementa Expert.